Hi everyone, Sailor Moon here, and Tuxedo Mask here, or Evening Hide here, Evening Coat, Evening Wear Hide here, and today we're going to be talking about, Pgsm, the live Farseer show that ran from 2000 free YL to 2004 YL that very few Sailor Moon followers have ever watched or saw, giving to the grounds that it was never broadcast or streamed it outside of Dawnland. Now, a lot of folks out there might have seen it on sundry websites that somehow got a hold of it. Don't ask me how, but they did. Now, I know someone out there might say, oh, well, they wrote it into all the speeches. The truth is, it was never put into any of the speeches, so a lot of folks that had a lot of time on their hands would write it into English or any of the other speeches because it was never put in any of the speeches of the world. Two, for a lot of folks that like everything to be law to my show, they will not be so happy, giving to the grounds that at first Pgsm starts out following the drawing book the same way that the drawing show does for some way, but then it becomes its own thing. Now, at the end of the day, will Pgsm get put in? Will TOEI free it out so it gets put into English and all the other speeches of the world? Your guess is good as mine. Now, I read somewhere on the interweb, and yeah, a lot of folks say you can't trust what's on the interweb, and which for most of the time that'd be true. So take it as a belief here, with no truth to back it up. First off, a saga or a tale is that TOEI is thinking about freeing out Pgsm for Viz and other businesses to then put into English and other speeches that it was never put into, never written into, and never spoken into because they never got a broadcast or streaming deal for it at the time. Say as you will about it, that need be not true, and at the end of the day, there might be no truth to back it up. Another saga and tale that out there is that some of the plays and some of the song plays out there, and there have been a lot of them, and my show has had a lot of them over the years, and a lot of them are still going on to this day. Will any of them ever get be freed out for any speech work? Your guess is good as mine, if those will be put into English or not. Now, for a lot of folks out there who might say that TOEI is very shielding of what broadcast and streaming deals they get for what things. Now, I know a lot of folks are going to say, well, TOEI business is the half owner of it, and Aldling Niall Goldings has some ownership in it too. How much? I do not know. Need be not as much as TOEI, though. I don't really know the ownership there. So if Pgsm does get put into English, I would mostly think for the English work, it would be Viz would handle it. Meaning that since it would be Viz that would handle it being put into English, so all the show players who did all the speaking English work for all the 5 followings of Sailor Moon, the 3 films, as well as the outstanding sagas, which Deke and Pioneer never did anything with, would most likely be the ones doing the speaking for them again. Only this time they would be doing the English work for the live folks instead of the drawing folks. So what do you think about that, Tuxedo Mask? What's your thoughts on Pgsm being put in English or not? If Pgsm, short for Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon or Pretty Keeper Sailor Moon, would be put in English by Viz, that would be cool. Because it is one slight of Sailor Moon besides the plays and the song plays that unless you went to Dawnland or you were lucky and you happened to go to see one of these plays or song plays that was playing in your stead somewhere, your Gore, Borough, Township, Town, or stead somewhere, great. I think PGSM is way overdue to get English work. You know, it's the one slight of the Sailor Moon followership that very few folks know about. A lot of them do, but then again, a lot of folks don't do. So at the end of the day, I think it would be cool to see how Viz would handle me, how they would handle you, how they handle, Amy and and Ray and Lita and Mina, how they handle Luna and Artemis and Andrew in this, how Samuel would be handled, how Molly would be handled, and how Queen Beryl would also be handled, along with Nephrite, also with Jadeite, Nephrite, Zoisite, and Malachite. Also, how Mio Kuroki would be handled, and some of the other selves that only in the show only, but are not in the drawing show or the drawing film. So it would be really cool to see how this would work out. And who knows, one day they might do a follow-up to it. A lot of folks would love to see a follow-up to PGSM, what PGSM's To the Following would look like. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We're putting a horse ahead of the wain here. We don't even know if PGSM is ever truly going to get English work. Yeah, you're right, Tuxedo Mask. I mean, you're right, Darian. At the end of the day, there isn't really any truth to say if TOEI will be freeing out PGSM out for English work, or any of the sundriest plays or song plays, or any of the other film games that a lot of Sailor Moon followers have not seen. So your guess is good as mine if the TOEI business and Aldling Nio Goldings will free any of this out for English work. Now, I could see a bid war happen, and there's very few businesses that would put a bid in to want to work with it. But since Viz got the rights to work with the Sailor Moon work since 2004 between FYL, I would think that they would get the rights to handle PGSM. And I would like to see how they go by handling all the live sales on the show, and even some of the folks that are only on the show only. Now, keep in mind, there's also one other little thing. There's also a song show that PGSM did between the show itself, and I wonder if that's ever going to get put into English or not either. Now, keep in mind, there need be no truth to back up, this. This is only a tale or a saga on the interwebs, and as we know, mostly, if it doesn't come from the law moat, and it doesn't come from some news business, and it doesn't come from some well-known Learn guild or Learn followership, then most likely of some wisdom business of some kind, it's mostly untrusted. So keep as it will. There need be no truth to back this up. But it would be cool if PGSM got put into English by Viz, since they've already put all of the 5 followings of Sailor Moon and all the 5 followings of Sailor Moon's Hearst and Forever and Stars, as well as putting all of the 5 followings of the first drawing show into English, as well as the free drawing films and whatever. I, Sailor Moon, Serena, and I, Tuxedo Mask, evening wear high Darian, and we'll see you later.